In ancient times, in a land where the rising sun gilded the desert with shimmering light, there lived a king who was more devoted to hunting than anything else. Every dawn, before the roosters crowed, he would ride out of the palace with his nobles and chosen horsemen. They would gallop through hills and forests until midday. For him, hunting was not merely a pastime. It was the symbol of his glory and power. The more he hunted, the stronger he felt. In a nearby village lived a man everyone simply called the woodcutter. His name mattered little among the people, because anyone who saw him first noticed his rough appearance. His clothes were always old and patched, his face dusty, his skin pockmarked, his body thin, his hair tangled and unkempt, and most noticeably, his eyes were slightly crossed. Yet despite all this, his heart was pure, and he worked only for honest bread. One early morning, as the woodcutter was gathering firewood earlier than usual, he heard the sound of hunting horns. He realized the king and his riders were approaching. His heart trembled, not from fear, but curiosity. He wished to see the splendor and majesty of the king with his own eyes. He stepped carefully beside the road. Dust covered his clothing, and the wood he had gathered weighed heavily on his shoulders, but his eyes shone with anticipation. When the king and his nobles drew near, the horses moved with noble grace. But the moment the woodcutter tried to look, one of the king's attendants shouted, "Hey, get away from the road. Don't look at us." The woodcutter froze. The king frowned and asked, "Why do you speak so harshly? His looking at us brings no shame." The attendant stepped forward proudly and said, "Your Majesty, this man is hideous. Seeing ugliness is a bad omen and brings misfortune. Such faces trouble the heart and foreshadow ill events. Better to keep him away." These words struck the woodcutter's heart like a stone. He said nothing, only lowered his head, stepped aside, and let them pass. The king and his men, without glancing back at his wounded heart, continued on their way. But the man carried that hurt with him. On the road home, he thought, "This arrogant attendant thinks he knows fate and fortune. He imagines his words are truth. No, I must give him an answer, not with rudeness, but with reason." That evening, he visited his brother Gully and told him what had happened. Gully advised him not to despair and said, "Bitter tongues often belong to ignorant minds. But if you want to answer him, speak in a way that keeps your dignity and reveals the truth." The next morning, the woodcutter returned to the same place, this time with a firmer heart. He waited until the king and his men returned from their hunt. As they approached, he bowed respectfully and said, "Your Majesty, if you allow me, I have a few questions." The king nodded. The woodcutter asked, "How was the hunt today?" "This morning and toward evening. Was it pleasant?" The king replied with satisfaction, "Yes, indeed. The day was good, game was plentiful, and my companions were joyful." The woodcutter continued, "Is everything well among you all? Are happiness and cheerfulness maintained?" "Yes, all are well," said the king. "Have you heard any bad talk or troubling news from anywhere today?" "No, nothing but good news." "Has any harm befallen any of your companions? Has any misfortune occurred?" "No, all are safe and sound." The woodcutter took a deep breath and said, "My king, since today has been full of goodness for you, I now ask, why did you drive me away yesterday? Why was I forbidden from looking at you? If seeing me was truly an ill omen, then why has your day been filled with good fortune even though you saw me again this morning?" The king fell silent. The man went on, "Yesterday you laughed at me and broke my heart. You left and your day went well. But I, after seeing you, went home heartbroken and full of sorrow.